Yesterday was Memorial Day, a national holiday where we remember people that have lost their lives in the defense of this country and in the defense of our freedom. Last week I was scrolling through TV channels. I hit on a channel where Mike Huckabee was talking about a trip he made to France. And I hope I get this right. Governor Huckabee said that while they were in France, they went to Omaha Beach. And as they looked out over the beach, they saw people at the beach having a good time, kind of like we would have. And they asked their tour guide, "Don't you think it's a little disrespectful for all these people to be playing and having fun on a beach where so many people have died?" And the tour guide said no. Actually, to the contrary, he said when all of the vets came back to Omaha Beach, they were asked basically the same question. And they said that the biggest tribute that could be paid to them was to be able to stand there and see all these people enjoying their freedom. Washington, D.C. is a place in this country where we have a lot of monuments to important men and to wars. Every time that I go to Washington, D.C., I make a point of going to the Arlington National Cemetery and to the Vietnam Wall. I remember when the Vietnam Wall was open. I remember seeing people take pieces of tracing paper up to the wall, and they still do it today, and take a lead pencil and go over that tracing paper so when they pulled it off, they had the name of their loved one that had died during that war. Every name on that wall is somebody that died during the Vietnam War. After the Vietnam War came the Gulf Wars. The first Gulf War, I lost a friend. It was a man that served with me in a reserve unit, a man that I worshiped with occasionally, and he lost his life during the first Gulf War. Then we had the second Gulf War, and then we have Afghanistan, a war where we saw our men from our youth group that had grown up in our youth group go off to war. One of those men became a casualty of that war. A young man that we loved, a young man that we played with, a young man that we worshiped with. All of those men that have died in conflict leave behind a family. And that family is called a Gold Star family. Those families go through life with a hole in their heart. I feel sorry for anybody that loses a loved one because it's a big loss, regardless of the reason. For Gold Star families, hole that's in their heart is a price that they pay every day for our freedom. And we love them and appreciate them for that. I want to shift gears now just a little bit to a much grander scale. I want to go to John chapter 3. I want to remind you of the love that our Father in heaven has for us. John 3:16 and 17 say, that for God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish, but have eternal life. For God did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world, but to save the world through him. I've often wondered how God felt through the whole ordeal of his Son's suffering and sacrifice for us. To look down from heaven on his Son in such a horrible situation and to know that he had the power to reach down and pull Jesus off that cross. To sit up there in heaven and look down and hear his Son, as it says in Matthew chapter 27, that at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Jesus cried out in a loud voice, "Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani," which means, my God, why have you forsaken me? To be a father, to see the situation that your Son is in, and to hear him calling out to you. The feelings and the emotions that had to go along with that are so extreme. And yet God loved us enough that he sent his Son to this earth as a sacrifice to let us live free from sin and death. And you know what the biggest tribute is that we can pay to God for that? Is to believe in His Son and to live a life in the kingdom that's full of thanksgiving and rejoicing. Be safe. Stay well out there.